I want to start making some long form videos again for YouTube about language learning and give you guys some inspiration, give you guys some tips, share my own learning journey. I'm learning Ukrainian right now, and just help you guys out. I haven't been making a lot of YouTube videos, so let's kind of dive back into this whole the whole YouTube rabbit hole. Um, the big thing that I was thinking about today before recording this video was just about giving you encouragement, really encouraging you in your language learning journey. Because it's not easy. It really isn't easy when you're learning languages. I'd say the challenge that there are two big types of challenges that language learners face. Challenge number one, they're like language related challenges. They're challenges where you struggle with the grammar, you struggle with the pronunciation, you struggle with aspects of the language itself. And that's obviously one type of a challenge. But then the other type of challenge we have is I would say consistency. It's actually sticking with it. And my hope today is I can give a little bit of encouragement on both sides of the equation. Whether you struggle more with the consistency side, the motivation side, or if you struggle on the other side and you struggle more with something specific to the language, grammar, pronunciation, conversation, listening, vocabulary, who knows? I want to give some motivation, inspiration, assistance on both sides of the equation. In terms of the technical skills side, like grammar and all that stuff, right? There's three big things there are three big things you can do that solve 90% of, or maybe even 100% of all the language learning problems that you could ever face. So you ready for this? Like three big things that solve essentially will end up solving all language learning, most or all language learning challenges people have. Talking to native speakers face to face, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's in person, reading material that is at your level, and listening to material that is at your level. If you were to just do those three things, most of the language learning challenges you have end up working themselves out. I'll give you an example of this, right? Me personally, I really struggled in Mandarin with this one grammar point. Like I just couldn't. I studied it. I looked in the textbooks. I did exercises. I had like 6 different teachers over like a 2-year period or something crazy explain it to me. And it just wasn't sticking. No matter how much I studied, I could not understand this Mandarin grammar point. I couldn't figure it out. Just couldn't do it, right? And in the end, the thing that solved it for me was lots of listening and lots of speaking, frankly. Because when I listened a lot, I kept hearing that grammar point. When I would speak a lot, sometimes I'd get to use the grammar point, or I would try to use it and someone would correct me on it. And so doing the listening and the speaking, remember, there's 3 big things I told you. Talk to native speakers face to face, Zoom or in person, listen to stuff at your level, and read stuff at your level. So I was doing that, and that helped me with that Mandarin grammar point. And I've done that time and time again, over and over and over and over for all sorts of different language learning challenges. Basically, yeah, like that solves almost everything if you just are really diligent about those 3 things. Of course, there are other little things you can do. You can do as well, flashcards, and of course there's other stuff, right? Apps and books and classes and little hacks here and there. Of course. But 80%, 90% of the equation, right? The bread and butter that will solve almost everything, like almost anything that you're struggling with, will just be solved. I'm not even kidding. Like, will be solved by doing consistent, which we'll talk about in a moment, consistent reading to stuff at your level, listening to stuff at your level, and talking to native speakers face to face. Now, consistency is the second piece, right? People really struggle with the consistency. And it is about the consistency. You need to do those 3 things I mentioned consistently in order to solve all the language learning challenges that you're having. So how do we get consistent? Like, what does that look like? Well, the first thing I'll say is that consistency to a large degree is overrated. And I'll explain this to you through a story. So I, for example, there's 2 languages I speak at an upper intermediate level where I was not consistent. One of them is Mandarin. That's definitely one, where consistency has not been the main theme. And yet I do speak Mandarin well, like not like my French and Spanish, for example, but I do have a respectable level in the language. But consistency was not a core theme of my studies. I would do like on and off studies. I've done on and off studies for 11 years. I'll do like 4 months on, then I'm off for 2 months, 3 months, and then 3 more months again, then I'm off for 2 months, and then a 5-month intensive thing where I'm like really gung-ho, and then I'm off again for 6 months. I haven't studied Mandarin in like a year, like as I'm making this video. So first thing to realize is consistency, while it is important, if you're stop and go with your studies, you can still definitely reach fluency in a language. It's still absolutely possible. So that's the very first thing that I would love to share with you. The second thing is, boy, does it help to have accountability. Now, everyone talks about accountability, but recently I actually looked up, I have it open here. I looked up the definition, right, of accountability. Ready for the definition of accountability? Okay, here we go. Accountable. Required or expected to justify actions or decisions. That's it. If you're required to justify justify your actions or decisions, that's what accountable means. And so having someone in your life, tutor, anyone really, I like tutors personally, that's my route, who you justify your decisions to, saying, hey, look, I was going to do this last week, but I didn't because I got busy. Like literally just by having someone to share that with and like voicing that and talking that through with people, that alone is a massive piece to helping you stay consistent. It's why I always, if something is really important to me, I bring a second person into the equation. I hire a tutor, I have a friend, I have to have someone, because I know how much that matters to me. I know how much, the accountability matters. I need it, really. And if I don't have it, I'm inconsistent, like I have been with Mandarin. Mandarin stop and go because I've had stop and go accountability. Gujarati has been stop and go because I've had stop and go accountability. I've not had consistent. Whereas French and Spanish, I had consistent accountability for years. That's why I was consistent with it. Right? And so that's a really big piece. I think so. In short, when we look at the whole landscape, language learning problems specifically language learning challenges, grammar, speaking, all that, right? They're solved to a large degree by doing 3 things. As I said, we have speaking with native speakers face to face on Zoom or in person. We have listening to stuff at your level and reading stuff at your level. That's it. That's like solves almost everything. I'm not joking. Like you can stop watching language learning videos, do those 3 things, and that's going to solve almost everything. And then the second piece is consistency. And consistency, it's about, number 1, not overthinking it, realizing that if you're not consistent, you can still go become fluent. So realize that. But second of all, if you do want to be consistent, because it'll help tremendously if you are, you've got to get some accountability in. I think that's tremendously important. And a little sales pitch. So brace yourself for the sale pitch. Here's it comes. I'm going to sell you something. Ready? Jedi mind tricks to make you buy something. Here we go. Okay. Anyway, it's why, like at the Calgary Language Nerds, accountability is a very big piece of what we do. In fact, lately, especially, it's probably the biggest piece of the equation is the accountability piece, because we've realized that accountability leads to consistency and consistency leads to fluency. That's a wonderful place to end this video here. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I hope to make some more videos like this. Bye-bye. See you.